All right. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting week of the Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge. It's week 4, despite what that broadcast overlay says. Don't believe it. It's not right. It'll get updated here in 2 seconds. All right. So, we are in qualifying here for round number 4 at the Nurburgring. Combined layout Gun-Samstrecke VLN, so the version we'll see on the NLS series of real-life racing, as well as the Nurburgring Endurance Championship on iRacing. 30-minute open quali currently underway. A few drivers there working them, trying to get a lap in and set up time. A few other drivers also getting some more reconnaissance laps, getting a little more practice in. Hour of practice preceded this. An hour of 30 minutes of racing action will succeed this. When I designed the setup for this, 'cause I did the weather for this season, I had planned for it to be a nice mid-mornings, early day start, and it was all daylight hours, and it ended at evening. Somewhere in translation, between what I sent and how it got applied, we've lost that. So it'll be a afternoon into night race, so it'll be interesting to see. We've got 23 cars currently out on the track, trying to get lap times in over the course of it. Is anybody setting a lap as we get set to go here? GT3s, Pro and Am currently working their way through. I don't need to check one last thing that I thought I fixed and got set to be all good to go for an hour and 30 minutes of racing. Yep. Okay, cool. Great. Got a busy racetrack. In total, it's going to be a very long and fun experience. A lot of drivers still getting their sea legs in preparation for the NURB 24 this weekend. I know I am as well. I will be, however, driving a TCR and not a GT3. That's why I'm back here. Oh, excuse me. Back here in the booth. Once more. Let's take a look at the exciting things going on. A few drivers still working their way through the lap time. And as we get through another lap for a couple of these drivers, Colton Tony coming around at the end of this, Jared Petit, as well as, I believe, Zachary Holden, both floating on lap times here. Zachary Holden setting personal bests in a few sectors, as well as overall bests for GT3 AM and a couple others. I've been told I'm alone in the booth again this week. Mark is off doing real life things. And the drivers have all collectively said that when they end up needing to take a tow to pit lane, they're going to hop into the interview room for me. And we'll have a chit chat while we wait for the rest of these drivers to work through these laps over 90 minutes of racing. So we'll see how this all squares out in that time. Weather looking pretty calm overall. I say calm overall. 67 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 85 degrees on track, so pretty smooth. 61% humidity, the barometric pressure as well as the direction of the wind, 14 miles an hour, so some decent gusts for these drivers as they keep on keeping on. Stint length, see there, take a look at it later, will require a one stop at some point in this race, but with full fuel, it'll be, I think, pretty fun to see where these drivers end up. As both Zachary Holden as well as Jared Petit work their way through the last couple of sectors. A bunch of corners. I don't know all of the names. I will not claim to know every single one of them, despite, I would say, some of my best efforts. I will at least try to get sectors correct. There are a bunch of those also on track. So we'll see. We may not. Ultimately, we'll have some fun with it all the same. Much like these drivers, the long run down the start-finish stretch. I once looked up all the Nürburgring corners for a video I was working on. Nurburgring, Nordschleife track map. The Doniger Hose Straight, one of the more important parts of this track, is where these drivers just came down and still working their way back around once again for another lap. Once they do so, kind of been on board with Zachary Holden, as well as the likes of Jared Petit. We'll take a ride on board at some point for these drivers. Tony Caicedo looking to get out before the end of qualifying to see if he can get a lap time in. Patrick Cantrell also still looking to get a lap time in. Evan Fisher going to jump up with an 8 minutes even to set a lap time on the board. Tyler Roberts right behind those drivers going to put one on there as well, getting himself with a 8:06. So we're going to have some pretty widespread lap times here as these drivers find and reacquire pace over the course of the next 90 minutes. A couple of drivers I know going to have some fun with it. Jared Petit going to retire that car, taking the opportunity there to get everything underway. The OMEC of Nate Sides, he can set a lap. Nicholas Maynard also out for the fun of it. So I believe he's still out what is on a out lap for that driver. See if he can get something there. Nate Sides setting personal bests through most of those sectors. Needs to get past a 7:52. Casey Jones setting the fastest lap. Clear 8 seconds to Jason Larson, who is going to be in second there. And then we get into the likes of Evan Fisher with an 8 minute even with a 666 there for that lap time. So pretty quick pace between all these drivers. We'll see where these drivers... Where did Nicholas Maynard go? Okay, he towed back to pit road. I thought he was there with Nate Sides the whole time, but I guess he pulled over the side. Nate Sides with a 8:02.93. Going to get his time up on the board. Colton Toney looking to see if he can get a lap time in. Kevin Hayes coming around the final couple of sectors here. See if he can get a lap time in. Push to pass. I thought that was a feature. We have our compounds there for these drivers. All of them should be on dry tires. There should be only one wet weather race, and that's not tonight. That'll be at Silverstone once we get back from our mid-season break. That Checkers or Wreckers machine going to be firing it down the Doniger Hose Straight for one of many times tonight. It's a beautiful shot. You get to see so much of the world. You get to see all the stuff that also surround the Nurburgring, much like Le Mans, a few other tracks that really make it a spectacle. You get the feeling there's a lot that goes on around here that you can also partake of in addition to the track itself and the racing you get to be a part of, either to watch or to race. Just a lot to go on. Last couple corners there, the final chicane. Great way to start and end a lap. There's a good exit out of this final chicane. See if he improves. 8:03 was his most recent time. Jumps up to a 7:59.511. Going to put himself up into third at the moment. Last couple drivers looking to get lap times in. Colton Toney, 2/3 of the way through a lap. And that's going to find him in an off track. I think he's going to call it an effort there. In that Checkers or Wreckers machine. Jason Larson, second currently, finding himself working his way down the backstretch. Not the backstretch, it's just specifically. Let me find more specifically where he's at. A lot of corners on this track to keep track of, so forgive me for not being always perfect on this. As he's working his way through the likes of Miss Hit Miss, which is a great one there for the long run down to Oh my gosh, there's a corner there for name for the bridge that it goes over. Forgive me. And with that, we'll come to a close for qualifying as Nick Terrell continues to work his way through that same spot. Osfart Bridgescheid. I'm going to butcher these names because they're all German, and I know very little German. Coming down into Bergwerk, as that time is just accelerating greatly. Nick Terrell looking to improve there, but that's going to be an off track. Nope, it's not going to be an off track. I just can't read. And down the long run of the... just going to be looking at the track map that I have over here that has all the names and just kind of pausing for a moment going, how do I say this? I know where they're at. Kisselchen, a fast flowing sector. You're almost always on the power throughout the sector, minus a brief moment where you just dab the brakes just enough to get the car rotated and slow down enough. Then you're into Stelstrasse, which is a nice, kind of very wide open hairpin to end up a lap. And then into the Caracola Carousel, the first of the two carousels, the big carousel, one might say. And then up into Hoacht, which is one of the tallest points of the track. And as it's the name in German, I believe, stands for the watch point. And then from here, it's pretty much a fun, mostly downhill roller coaster down the backstretch. You Wipperman and Esbach, this quick, fast left-right makes for, I think, a pretty fun and busy time. As coming over the hill there, you keep working your way down the kind of winding return to the start-finish stretch. As these drivers, Nick Terrell is talking with Kevin Hayes. And we're working our way through. We'll see whether or not Nick Terrell posts the lap time here. Now into Flansgarden, which is a whole section of corners, including Flansgarden itself, where just, again, big high commitment zone, really having to, use mechanical grip. Kleine curve, the last kind of, or Kleine carousel, I should say, the last, one of the final few corners before the Dowdinger Ho straight. Which might be the saying the same thing with different words there. Much like chai and trying to add tea onto chai tea, which just means TT. As we get into what will be, I think, an early afternoon into the evening style race. Despite my best efforts, they were thwarted. I was not specific enough in my endeavors to make sure that we had a very, very particular style of race happening. So and coming to the final chicane now, after the Dowdinger Ho straight, Nick Terrell, the last driver to try to get a lap time improvement here. We'll see himself come across the checkered flag and immediately destroy that car as he puts it into second with a 757.481, which will take us to the end of qualifying and into our 90 minutes of racing action here coming up in just a moment. First, we have a grid out of our 23 cars. Casey Jones is going to be leading off with Nick Terrell in P2. Jason Larson is going to be wrapping up third with Kevin Hayes alongside him in fourth. The top two rows of the grid. Evan Fisher going to be in fifth there. Going to be leading off GT3 AM alongside Joe Evers. Nate Sides alongside William Master for row number 4 with Zachary Holden and Tyler Roberts rounding out the top 10. Richard Costanza is going to be alongside Tom Lee for our first drivers outside of that top 10 spot. Dan Griffin going to be one of the first of a whole host of drivers that did not set a lap time. Nicholas Maynard going to be in second there, but in 14th overall. Andre Saba alongside Patrick Cantrell for 15th and 16th. Sergey Broke going to be alongside Tony Caicedo for the 17th and 18th. I was trying to figure out what row of the grid that was. The 9th row of the grid. There we go. Jared Petit going to be alongside Colton Tony with Wesley Woods, Hayden Mamanga, and Ken Duvall rounding out the 23-car grid. I think it's going to be a fun and busy one at that. I've heard tell a few different things. We do have a shortened pace lap, very thankfully. We will start down the Dottinger Hose straight. Plenty of opportunity for these drivers to kind of start to build a little bit. Grid 2. There we go. Of some pace now. Let's go OMEC. Yes, absolutely. Casey Jones going to lead off the GT3 field here. Battle first in class. Yep. My battle box. Just double checking a couple of options here as we get set for 90 minutes of racing action. The 23-car grid about to gear up to go. Gridding is complete. We're going to see these drivers take to the... Thank you, Landon. I appreciate it. I'm hoping your conference call is going well. Peeling away from the starting formation to get some heat in these tires. You see all these drivers kind of sort themselves out. All 23 of them. Of those 23, 20 will take to the starting grid. The last two, both Dan Griffin and Nicholas Maynard, looking like they're going to start from pit lane. So we'll see where they end up at the end of this 90 minutes of racing action. Getting an opportunity there to see kind of riding along board with Casey Jones as he warms up those tires alongside Nick Terrell. Wish I was racing. That is very fair. We wish you were here with us as well. It's going to be, I think, a very busy evening. But whenever you're done with your conference call, and if you want to keep talking about things, you can always hop into the booth. I'm sure we'd have some fun. See if Ken Duvall also gets to join us. I think I saw him register, but I don't think I've seen him sign up just yet. "90 minutes, great view of the trees here. 90 minutes of racing. Going to be coming underway here in just a moment's time. The M2 safety car going to peel in down the start-finish line, and then Casey Jones will be waiting for that green flag to go racing. In the famous words of Bob Lindell, "We all go on green" is the phrase often gets uttered there. I'm pretty sure Kevin Hayes still keeps that alive in the drivers' briefings as well. So, through the final chicane, we've been down the Dottinger Hoe straight. One that I always feel like you think it lasts forever when you're going down it, but then you blink and then you realize you're at the other end of it. So it's like, I can never tell if it's really long or really short. So we're going to get on the loud pedal here pretty soon as Casey Jones leads the field away. Kevin Hayes getting a great run as well. Jason Larson also going to try to see if he can hold an inside line to Nick Terrell, who fans out wide. They're going to go diving into turn number 1. It's a busy time for those drivers. The rest of that field working its way through. Well, Colton Jones going to be working their way through Wesley Woods. Hayden Mamega going to be working their way out of these first couple corners as well. Dan Griffin alongside Nicholas Maynard. They both exit the pit lane together. And they're going to have to work with some cold tires. Haven't had the opportunity to get them up to temperature. We'll check on them in here in a moment. I get the feeling we'll see them work their way through pretty quickly. Jake Terrell trying to keep up with Casey Jones. Casey Jones off on a tear. Jason Larson, Kevin Hayes all working their way through as well. Battles further back in the field as Sergey Perot takes the fight to Tom Leeson for the inside line there. Andre Saba also going to get through, I think, the likes of Patrick and Tony Caicedo as Tom Leeson kind of falls down the order a little bit. Oh, he is missing a front bumper. What happened there? Okay, let's see. What? How did? Oh no! And then Evan Fisher is going to be off in the inside gravel trap. It's going to come back onto the circuit. Tom Leeson almost getting collected in that, but able to keep all those cars going the right direction. I'm trying to figure out what happened to Tom Leeson real quick. Checking in on as well, Dan Griffin, as well as Nicholas Maynard, labeled as a lap behind on my system, but don't trust that. They're all on the same lap as Wesley Woods. They are about, I'd say, a handful of seconds behind. So, with all of that, let's take a look back at what happened to Evan Fisher. I want to see what happened here for these two drivers. Oh, just a slide. Whoa. That's a little bit wild. Let's take a look further back. I want to take a look, see what happened to Evan Fisher. It's right on board. See, Nate Sides behind him at this point. I wonder if there's a look and he goes to try to go for the racing line. Brakes. Oh, Nate tries to go alongside and just accidentally pit turns him. And he gets shuffled out of the order there. And of course, my live button does nothing. Great. Tyler Roberts going to be, run into his teammate. Colton Jones, Tom Leeson, all trying to avoid that. That's going to be a bit of a hectic one. Jared Petit parks it right behind those drivers. Dan Griffin and Nicholas Maynard going to tire around as well as they're working their way through. Trying to theoretically unlap themselves. I'm not sure why it's still labeling them as a lap behind. They are on the same lap as the rest of these drivers. Wesley Woods under fire from the likes of both those drivers. Trying to see what happened as well here. Tyler Roberts ends up off track. All right. Take a look back at this one as well. Big shunt there. Evasive action out of Tony Caicedo. And then as he goes to go, Patrick Cantrell trying to lead to the inside, unable to do so. And that's where we jumped on board. Tony Caicedo able to kind of keep it on. Battle heating up here. Zachary Holden and Sergey Perot all are filing up behind Richard Costanza. As we get into these battles, a lot of this pack spreading out. Let's see if we can ride. I don't want to ride on board with Sergey Perot. See what it's like tearing through Wursefin. You come through the bit of a blink there out of Zachary Holden. These three drivers all catching up to William LeMaster. A couple more off tracks. Andre Saba right behind these drivers now as a result of an off track there, I think. All four of these drivers under a blanket. And Tony Caicedo trying to catch up to them from where he is behind these four. Closest battle on track. Trying to keep up with where Dan Griffin and Nicholas Maynard are. Since they're labeled as a lap down, it's been interesting trying to keep up with where they've got up to. Right now, just past Tom Leeson. Now have to get around Colton Jones, the two of them. Nose to tail. As they're working their way through. Jumping back up a little bit further up the order. Colton Jones lifting out for this too. Nicholas Maynard not going to get as lucky trying to get around Colton Jones. Colton Jones dropping down the order a little ways to make sure he doesn't run into any of those drivers. Having a fantastic time doing so. Some good consistency there. Keep that battle. This battle still alive for these two drivers as they come out of the carousel. And work their way up to Hoacht. Richard Costanza leading the GT3 AM field. Zachary Holden and Zachary Holden hot on his heels. Sergey Perot will be battling for overall positions, but not looking for specifically a spot in position. Sergey Perot gonna get around Zachary Holden as he had a wide exit at Hoacht. The invert, it does. They are their paint schemes are incredible. Tyler Roberts still working his way through as well as these two drivers get around Hoacht themselves. Sorry, further on. Not Fansgarderen. Just before that, Lipperman and all that. Nicholas Maynard labeled as off track, but not one that looks like it was too serious. Keeping up as well. Tony Caicedo right alongside Andre Saba. These two battling it out for what will net the P9 in class. And oh my gosh, such a fast time. You can see there as well the likes of Dan Griffin and Nicholas Maynard amongst all these other drivers. Big moment there. Fansgarden, such a high commitment for all of these drivers. So really one good line to get through all of them. We'll see if Dan Griffin has a good opportunity to get around these two for a pass for overall positions. Up ahead as well. Still the three that were battling earlier. Zachary Holden, Sergey Perot, as well as Richard Costanza still in a fight. We're going to keep an eye on this one for the moment. So I'm curious to see. Oh, big shake there out of Tony Caicedo. Keeps it together. An old Outlander teammate. Getting everything squared away. It's going to be a fun run down the Dottinger-Hose straight for the first lap. As these four drivers work their way down the start-finish stretch. It's going to be fun to see. You see two battles in field right now. The first three being the likes of Sergey Perot, Richard Costanza at the head of that with Sergey Perot in the middle and then Zachary Holden behind. And then just ahead of them, you have Jason Larson and Nick Tyrrell, as they come down the end of the Dottinger-Hose straight and work their way through the final couple of corners. Andre Saba having to fight with Tony Caicedo, though. As these battles continue, I just want to see how these four all sort themselves out. Nicholas Maynard having to put on the brakes a little early so that way he doesn't run into his teammate. Oh, slow run for Andre Saba, and that's going to see him, I think, under fire from Dan Griffin as they get through lap number 1. See if they get classified appropriately and no longer are labeled as a lap down. Answer is no. They are still going to be labeled as a lap down in my system. So, fun. Dan Griffin making the lunge down on the inside of Andre Saba. And Nicholas Maynard going to follow right through as Andre is pushed out wide. As that battle comes to a close, keep an eye as well. Nick Tyrrell, as well as Jason Larson, still within 0.6 of a second of each other. And Sergey Perot still fighting with Zachary Holden. I'm trying to see if Richard Costanza, the pass did get made. Let's take a look here. We'll do this. It's riding on board. Take a jump back as both Sergey Perot and Zachary Holden passed for the lead of this. I think he lifted out of the Dottinger-Hose straight to allow both of them through. I think that was, oh no, I don't think he lifted. I think just the overspeed of draft took both of them through. So, all right. Jump back on board with these two as this battle continues for position. Amongst the many drivers still working their way through, Tyler Roberts going to dive into pit lane. Get that car repaired from that earlier spin that we saw in the opening sectors. Tony Caicedo still, I think, battling with Andre Saba. No, excuse me. Caught up to the likes of Richard Costanza from where he has had his fight come to a close between himself as well as Zachary Holden for the lead of GT3 AM. And we also have a couple more fights brewing amongst all these. Jared Petit, Wesley Woods, these two drivers telling me how they were going to end up in the booth at some point. And the likes of Hayden Mamenga, these three drivers now all battling to be not last in class. I think are having a fantastic, at least a fun time doing so. Dan Griffin, Nicholas Maynard now behind the likes of Richard Costanza and Sergei Perok as they come through the fast Armberg sector. Sorry, they're coming into the fast Armberg sector. Just getting done with the Schwedenkreuz section. Keep an eye on a couple battles that still are on track. Obviously, we've been calling those two as they've been working their way through the field. But one to keep on as well for overall positions. Richard Costanza and Tony Caicedo, 2 Porsches, looking to battle it out for P10 overall and P9 in class. Sorry, it would be still P9 class. Oh, Richard Costanza has a slow exit. Tony Caicedo working his way through. Richard Costanza playing very sensibly the long game. And, you know, I've seen it really leveraged this week, but to finish first, you first must finish, I think is a good motto to live by. Dan Griffin, they've gotten around both Zachary Holden and Sergei Perok. Well, Nicholas Maynard still fighting with Sergei Perok as they get into miss hit miss, known as such for trying to hit only the middle of those 3 apexes that you go flying around pretty quickly. Nicholas Maynard wanting to get alongside, doesn't have the overspeed to make that lunge into, I want to say Adnar Frost. No, excuse me. Horsfin. One of these track corner names. Forgive me. Let's keep it up with this battle for position. Nicholas Maynard has the speed now. Both are going flying into Bergwerk. That overspeed finally going to carry him through. His teammate Dan Griffin just up the road, bottled up behind William LeMaster. For the moment, as Kevin Hayes, I think, comes under fire from Nate's sides up this road a little ways further in a battle for 4th in position. Tyler Roberts off track once again. See if the gap opens back up or closes back down between these two drivers. Battle's on track. Now kind of spread out a fair bit, not fully, especially as William Master having to lift out a little bit to allow Dan Griffin through. The gap, I would say, between all these drivers closing back down as Sergei Perok catches up to William Master. Dan Griffin as well as Nicholas Maynard working their way through. A fierce fight is on between Jared Petit and Wesley Woods for P6. This battle opening up, closing back down, opening back up once again. Patrick Cantrell now finding his way around Colton Tody as Jared Petit ends up around Jared Petit. Jeez, forgive me. It's been a long day. I've been doing a fair amount of voice work, and all the names are running together. Jared Petit gets around. Oh, I would say he was doing pretty well up until that point, but that second hit looked pretty unfun. See how that car recovers over the end of this race. Plenty of opportunity for that car to come back into a fight as well. As Kevin Hayes finds himself off track, he's going to have to give up the spot to Nate Sides. Sergei Holden going off track as well. Let's take a look back at this incident with Jared Petit. Just a self-spin behind Wesley Woods. Unfortunate. We'll see him slide backwards, and Hayden Mamenga going to keep himself out of harm's way. Kevin Hayes also going off track. Let's see what happens for this Aston Martin driver. Just not enough brakes. Oh, that is brutal. And he's back off track again in Flansgarden. He's going to see him much slower than I think he wants to be. Coming through these final couple corners, William Master going to get around him as well. And Sergei Perok as they come into Schwab Swans. Zachary Holden now going to be dealing with him as well. Tony Caicedo working his way through. Kevin Hayes off once again. A third in a series of off tracks this lap. That has been unfortunate. Zachary Holden now has to defend from Tony Caicedo as they get back around to the Dottinger straight for the second lap. Estimating, based on these lap times, we have probably about a 12-lap race. So we'll have to see how this evening comes about. William Master, Sergei Peruk. The draft really paying in Sergei Peruk's favor. Fastest lap out of Casey Jones as he comes across the start-finish stretch at 7:51.957. That battle there, I think one we're going to have to see if the pit lane favors any of those drivers more than the other. Sergei Peruk getting around William Master as they come out of the Dottinger straight, getting to the final chicane before they get back onto the Grand Prix circuit. Wow, yeah. Controversial opinion out of Landon Orr, who is joining us in chat tonight. Kevin's pace has dropped since he got married. I would have to agree. Dan Griffin and Nicholas Maynard finally being appropriately classed in 5th and 6th. No longer are they in a lap down from the drivers they were battling for most of those opening laps in my system. Battles all up and down the midfield pack of these drivers as Kevin Hayes comes in to get that car repaired with a fast repair. I think he'll need to come in and do a splash and dash, which may break up that fight he was having with Nate Sides a little bit more than he was hoping for. As these drivers set to probably get caught up to Nate Sides on this lap at some point. Two of them still a second between each other. As they all work their way through. William Master, Zachary Holden, Tony Caicedo. As well as Sergei Peruk. Right on with my old teammate. Where he sits behind this pack of 4. Trying to figure out what gear he wants to be in. It's always a fun fight trying to figure out what gear you want to be in for a corner. Especially ones that are big use of the curb there. He's going to use the curb on the exit as well. As he continues to kind of chase the cars in front of him. Right behind where Tony Caicedo is at the moment as well, Andre Saba finds himself trying to get back into a fight with Richard Costanza and get back up the order, but quick off track there. You know, I'm also still proud Tony is on track, as his teammate that has seen him end up off track on much smaller courses. You know, I'm really thrilled. He's still on track. It's not very often, but it's still cool to see. Coming down. Very, very fast Flugplatz. All 4 of these drivers still within about 2 seconds of each other. There's also the like of Joe Evers now on this group of individuals. Joe Evers got passed by both the 100 Force drivers a little while ago. Just trying to find out where that happened because I didn't see him get passed by those drivers. But it might be one that also didn't get logged as a pass because of the way my system is working tonight. So, getting into the 20-minute marker, we have an hour and 30 minutes total. By the time they come back around to the start-finish stretch, they will be just shy of their fuel window. So after this lap, anytime they can come in, the next lap or beyond, they will be within striking distance of making sure they are green to the finish. So all these drivers who have had small offs and picked up a little bit of damage, but not enough to come in for service, will be able to do so and have, I think, a pretty easy quick repair, or at least a repair throughout all that. Dan Griffin's now within a second of Nate Sides as they come through near miss hit miss. Once again, both of those drivers going off track amongst all that. Just flying through all these. Nate Sides really putting the pressure to try to keep that car going the right direction. Get a front row seat off of Nicholas Maynard's roof. As Dan Griffin looks to apply the pressure on Nate's Sides. Meanwhile, Andre Saba getting around Richard Costanza as he's heading off. We'll take a look at that once we see whether or not this pass gets made coming out of Bergwerk. And down the fast Kisselchin run up to Stelstrecke. All right, let's take a look back. What happened to Richard Costanza? He had a pair of offs, I should say. Of course, while I look at this, big moment there. Huge ability there also as well from, could dodge out of Andre Saba to not run into him amongst all that. These drivers still battling it out for position. Kevin Hayes labeled as crashed, and he has jumped to pit lane. Take a look as well, see if the pass gets done amongst all this. And both him, I think, and as well as Tyler Roberts going to have a bit of a rough evening ahead of them. Coming out of the Kleine Carousel once again. These three drivers all within a second of each other. Here's what happened to Kevin Hayes coming into, I think, the likes of not Colin Hart, excuse me. Sumhol, just pulls over, brings it to a stop. What happened before then? Because that looked way more mundane. That's what happened at near hit miss, or miss hit miss, near hit miss. See him jump to pit lane. These three drivers still in a dogfight. Take a look off the back end of this machine. See the two Mustangs looking to get around this Corvette. Brutal day for Kevin Hayes. He got lost twice. Hard thing to do coming into the very fun but very technical Flance Garden. Get a little bit of air on that corner every lap. It's a lot of fun. It's a little daunting until you get familiar with it. And we get to see whether or not there's going to be a look out of Dan Griffin coming into the braking zone here. Big shake out of Nate Sides. He comes back across track. He's going to end up wandering wide. And that will allow both of those 100 Force drivers to slip on through as they work their way back up the road. Nate Sides able to keep that car out of the wall, which is always a fantastic time. William Master, Sergei Perot still find themselves at 0.6 of a second between each other as well. Other battles further down in the order. Richard Costanza keep about a second gap between himself and Andre Saba ahead of him. Evan Fisher, after his early spin, still clawing back through the order and looking to see if he can't make his way, around. 13 seconds now for Dan Griffin and Nicholas Maynard for their next drivers. William and Master looking to repay the favor to Sergei Baroque for the pass that was done here on the Donninger-Ho straight last lap. Sergei Baroque looking to see if he can't fight his way back up the order. Tony Caicedo also getting around Zachary Holden. This was just moments ago as well after the pass or the damage that saw Kevin Hayes bring that car in. Just lifts and allows him through. These two drivers coming out into the final chicane. Big moment there for William Master. Keeps that car planted using all that curbing. Keep that car going in the right direction. Zachary Holden labeled as crashed amongst all this. What happened there? Evan Fisher getting around Richard Costanza. These two almost go too wide down. There's a lunge out of Sergei Perot. He's looking to make that pass done. See if the over-under between those two drivers comes back around in the favor. It does not for the moment. William Master, these two drivers still keeping it together. This allows Tony Caicedo to remain in view. Kevin Hayes, since he's sitting in the paddock, wants to let it be known that he has had a good season so far this season, despite Landon Norris' controversial position about Kevin Hayes getting slower since he got married. This gap. Oh, boy. Howdy. This is going to be a fun one as we get into the likes of the chicane. A couple of voice messages going on. Not get a chance what they were. There's the look at William Lasser. He wants to make it known. Doesn't quite lean on it. Keeps himself close. Tony Caicedo now closing the distance quite quickly. As Colton Tony comes into pit. I think he had a couple moments there this last lap. That has been, I think, rather a busy time for him. These three drivers, the closest battle on track for the moment. And then see where they all end up here in a little while. Zachary Holden labeled as crashed amongst all this. That is a destroyed front end. He's going to back it up off the track. Andre Saba, Evan Fisher both getting around that car without issue. What happened here for Zachary Holden? That front end looks quite upset. This is going to be into the Hatzenbach. Oh, too much curb. Oh, and then gets just spun. Hold on. We got to come back for that. Let's do this. All right. Get an opportunity there to look at a different angle here. This is what happened here. Too much rotation while also on the brakes. Sees him hit the curb, and that's where that car just slides. And then as he's in the wall, just gets pirouetted around as those tire barriers do him no favors, and that front end goes flying off. So he'll come back on, off and on track there as well. Unfortunate moment for that driver. Zachary Holden getting passed by a few drivers amongst all that. Finds himself now in the fight with Tom Leeson. Both these drivers missing their front diffusers. Whoa, the speed difference. Sees Tom Leeson work his way around very quickly. Hayden Mamenga going to be a little bit off track as he tries to keep up with the likes of Wesley Woods. This battle for these three drivers, still, however, less than a second between all three of them. Tony Caicedo getting around William Master amongst all this. Nick Tyrrell going to be off track as well. Oh, no. Tyler Roberts, he did a full 720. He did do a full 720 in the air. So I think style points has to go to Zachary Holden for the race, no matter what else happens. I've never seen anybody do a 720 pop shove it in a Mustang GT3 before. So keeping an eye on this. William Master, a little slower this lap. I wonder if he's playing it a little bit safer or just trying to make sure he doesn't overheat those tires. Dan Griffin, big off track there. We'll see him close down that gap between those two drivers. It's Kevin Hayes from the paddock where he's waiting for his car to get towed back around. Now gets to join me in the booth.
I got lost.
You did get lost.
Well, I got lost. I got lost when Nate was following me.
Oh, boy.
And that was the first off.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to be able to keep out of the barriers on that first one, and it bent bent everything. So you were saying oh, it's his third off track, and Landon's like, Kevin's lost pace since he got married. I'm like, my car is broken.
Man.
And then when I came back out, it got lost again. I just thought I was. Both times I thought I was like 2 or 3 corners further down the road than I really was. So we're going to take I got 2 minutes right now of optionals remaining, and we're gonna get back out there and see if can't salvage a little something.
You want to watch Tony Caicedo pass Sergey Perok for P9 real quick?
No.
It's queued up already.
Oh my God, he went by here?
Yeah, that's where they went by.
Okay. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
No, I mean, Nate was faster than me for sure. He was gaining on me pretty quickly. It was funny. I think whatever setup I'm running is super low downforce because end of lap 1 or 2, I think end of lap 2, I was like Nate was about a second behind me getting onto that main straight, and by the end of the straight, I was 2.5 ahead of him. Like I pulled a 1.5 seconds on him when he had the draft.
Nice.
So, and then he would just gain it all back to the corner. So, setup a little low downforce would have been good for passing people if I got to anybody, but decided that the wall looked more enticing.
Whoa, big moment here for William Master. The wall. See where he definitely lifted out of that to not run into the McLaren of Sergei Baroque in the process.
I don't think my pre-race speech did much for the boys today.
What did
I told everybody that, hey, it's a narrow track. Like, if someone's slower than you and you have the pace over them, that's great. This is not a track where it's easy to get by. You're going to get frustrated. Wait until you can truly get alongside to make your move. Don't just half-ass stick your nose in there, because you're going to cause a wreck and 2 people are going to die because of it. Anyways, I got 8 seconds left. I'm going to get back out there.
All right, good luck.
Focus.
Have a
I'll
good
talk
fun.
to you later. When I wreck again, I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. All right, now it's Kevin Hayes, who's currently working his way back out onto the racetrack with a freshly repaired car. William Master, Sergei Baroque still going too wide. Andre Saba as well as Evan Fisher drag racing down the Donninger Host straight as well. I think Evan Fisher probably going to make the pass here. See if William Master can hold on to it into turn 1. We saw the pass get retaken here. Big use of the curbing as well, causing a little bit of a slower run for these drivers. Tony Caicedo, a 1.5 seconds up the road. Now a second closing to Joe Evers. Stan Griffin. What happened to Dan Griffin? Okay, well, there's Nicholas Maynard. Where's his teammate? Dan. Dan, where'd you go? Dan? Dan's gone. We lost Dan. All right. Well, one of the drivers of the 100 Force will still be working his way down. Cut down 7 seconds over his most recent lap time. Is Zachary Holden working his way around. Pretty slow at the moment from that damaged car. Dan Griffin just still trying to find where he ran off to. Meanwhile, down the Donninger Host straight, Wesley Woods battling with Jared Petit as well as Hayden Mamenga. These 2 drivers, I think, going to be a pretty quick moment here. I'd have to agree with you. I think that battle between William Master and Sergei Baroque may end with a couple of very warm and toasty microphones by the end of it. As Jarno Petit just... I keep saying Jarno. Jared Petit. As they come back around once again. Jared Petit going to dive into pit lane. Get his pit stop done for the evening. Tony Caicedo, Joe Evers going to be within a second of each other now. Same with the battle right behind them of William Master, Sergei Baroque. Andre Saba trying to keep the 6-second gap that he has to Evan Fisher as they get back into the Nordschleife, or the Green Hell. Jason Larson now back under 2 seconds to Nick Tyrrell. Wesley Woods labeled as crashed. Looks fine to me. What happened here, Leslie? Let's see. Oh, boy. I wonder if there's a small spin. Yeah, it looks like a lot of speed going into that corner. Oh, just the slowest. Oh, gets it sorted. Hayden Mamenga going to slip by amongst that all as well. And now these 3 drivers all going to be back into it. Just as soon as it goes away, it comes back together. And Joe Evers definitely trying to keep ahead of this battle ahead of him, or behind him, I should say. See, they get a decent enough gearbox shot. See where those cars are just behind him. As they get into Adenauer Frost. Frost Forest. Jeez. English. Battles, ebb and flow of who is where. Where the heck did Sergei Perok lose 2 seconds? That car looking a little toasty. As they keep on keeping on. Zachary Holden left pits, ended up off track. Car's still in one piece though, so we're doing good there for our style points winner of the evening, Zachary Holden. This is the closest battle on track. Keeping an eye on the battle for P2 and P3 as the times are slowly coming down, but every time I think they're about to like fully reach into a battle with each other, Jason Larson finds a little bit of time. So it'll be up to Nicholas Maynard now as well, as Dan Griffin, I think, had a brief internet issue. We'll see if we talk with at least one of those 100 Force drivers in the post-race, what happened there. And all slow exit for Joe Evers, sees him half a tenth ahead of Tony Caicedo as they go into a very fast section between Kessel Chen, the run up to Stelstrecke. And 2/10 separate Tony Caicedo, Joe Evers. The downforce packages between those two drivers, you can see very apparent in this high-speed section. Tony Caicedo ends up off track, keeps it together, but that's going to close up the gap between himself and William Master. And all three of these drivers are going to be 3/10 of each other as they go into the braking zone. Full late on the brakes for all three of these drivers. He's all of them almost run a little too deep. And we'll see how they all fare throughout the carousel. One of the harder points, especially when you're in the middle of a fight. Easy to overshoot it and go spitting out the backside. They all keep it together as well as they can. Closest battle on track right now, as Hayden Mamenga ends up off track once again. Boy, howdy, big moment there. Keeps all those cars together. Colton Tony getting around Jared? Or sorry, Wesley Woods getting around him. Yeah, all right. Hayden Mamenga getting around, getting passed by Wesley Woods amongst all that. Keeping an eye on this battle here. I want to see what happened with Hayden Mamenga. He has a decent enough off track amongst all this. So let's see. As, big clunk into the wall, big clunk into the other wall. Gets it going again. What happens here that causes the issue amongst all this? Nope, just runs a little off of track to not run into Wesley Woods. Sees him back into the fight. This battle, this three-way fight, has not gone anywhere. Sergei Perok, I think, overheated the tires a little bit. Now trying to regain some time here. Oh, big moment. It's such a fun and slightly sketchy opportunity there. As they all three pile on the pressure with each other. Zachary Holden crashed, jumped to pits. Keep an eye on these guys as they go late into the braking zone from Tony Caicedo. He's going to run off and end up in the gravel. Keeps it out of trouble. But that's going to see him fall right back into the clutches of Sergei Perok, who's just up the road. Andre Saba also having an off track amongst this. Also fares equally well, but loses out on the time that he had trying to keep up with Evan Fisher. Joe Evers now under the fire from William LeMaster. As Tom Leeson has a brief moment. Keeps that car going the right direction, though. Wesley Woods, Hayden Mamenga, back into that fight that they were having a while ago. What happened to Zachary Holden? Let's find out. Oh, near hit miss. Miss it miss. Just getting a brief moment there. Zachary Holden.
I have been sent to assist you.
You've been sent.
I believe my race is over.
Hit?
Volunteered after the second severe incident. So.
Well, whenever you get your repairs back out there, you can always get back out on track.
Oh. given that I already used the fast repair and the tow is going to be 5 minutes, I think I might get a half an hour left, but
Yeah.
we'll see what it looks like.
Certainly. So, I want to let you know that you are going to be the driver that gets style points tonight for that 720 pop shove it you managed to do.
I could not tell what was happening. They were like,
Oh,
your entire front end is gone. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that makes sense. Because at one point, the car was looking straight up in the air. So, what's the front of the pack looking like right now?
front of the pack. Well, you ask at a good time. Nicholas Maynard has caught up to Nick Tyrrell. These two drivers both setting their personal best lap times, and Nicholas Maynard getting the fastest lap time of the race this most recent time by. As we get into the 40th minute of racing, about halfway. Let's see here. To onboard Nicholas Maynard, that 77 Mustang. Let's see. How was the race outside of the couple incidents?
I mean, it was excellent. We were doing good. I know I had Tony behind me for a while, and Dan and Nick came up in the pair of Mustangs. Was incredibly intimidating whenever there's nobody on your relatives, and then all of a sudden there's two Mustangs trying to make you decide, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? Because one of us is going to go past right now, and the other one's going to be frustrated about it.
Oh, Nicholas Maynard going to apply the pressure here as they go into Schreidenkutz. Oh, that's going to be wide for Nicholas Maynard. It's an overcommit. That's going to be a big moment there. Wrangles it up, but is going to have to try that again. Boy, howdy. Much smoother than I would have been had I tried to do that at the same time. I know I definitely would have ended up flying into that barrier on the far side. And this battle never changes. These three find their way back into a fight.
So what do we have further down? Joe and William are still right behind each other with Tony still right there.
Yeah, so William get a good run towards the end of the lap, which is how he ended up in front of Joe. These two going back into it again. Meanwhile, Jason Larson losing a little bit of time in this middle sector. Sees him under 2 seconds to these three drivers as they are going to be pushing it out as hard as they can. Defensive light out of Nick Tyrrell as they get into the braking zone. Whew. Watch. You know, still battling for position. 40 minutes in. I think the last to first challenge should be done more often by Nicholas Maynard and Dan Griffin. Dan Griffin reconnected now. He's going to find himself back out on track here.
Nicholas gets a pass done.
Yeah, he does. Of course, I pulled the F1 move of right when they make the passes when I look away. That's because that's off track here out of Nick Tyrrell. So a hard-fought battle there comes to an end. So Andre Saba has an off track amongst all that as well. Tony Caicedo, once again, trying to get around Joe Evers. This gap. Whoa. William Master keeping that car going the right direction. Hop back a little bit. I think your teammates fighting with Wesley Woods.
Oh, I mean, if they're still in the same kind of mood as they were whenever I bumped in here, I don't know as though there's too much of a fight. Last I heard, Wesley was giving a tour of the track to Hayden.
Ah, okay.
So
this is our tourist laps that are happening right now.
Yeah, this is
okay.
This is the paid ride along version of the race here.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
Tony Caicedo getting the pass done here. Same place he got the pass done with Sergey Peruk a couple laps prior. The lead up to... Oh, man. The lead up to Selstraka. See, I have a map full of all these names, and I still feel like I have no idea which name is where.
There's a handful that everybody knows, and I feel like the rest of them, it's just like, if I need it, I'll have to go look it up, but otherwise, it's, turn before or after the famous one that everybody knows, or... All right, let me check my repair time.
Ooh, Nicholas Maynard.
Another 8 minutes.
Oh, man.
Maybe we'll be back out there.
You got time. You got time to get some more laps in, get some more practice. Are you doing a NURB 24 run this year?
We're hoping to. We're maybe trying to get 1 or 2 more people. We have 4 people right now.
Oh, okay. That's a good
so
number.
we could probably get it done.
Yeah.
But we shall see here.
Getting through the Kleiner curve.
Luckily,
carousel.
It's in the Ferrari, so it's not one of these front engine behemoths that you have to try and wrangle around this thing.
All right, we're likely going to see this pass happen here on the Dodger Host Straight. Lose all audio because we're so far away in this blimp. I can't tell if Nicholas Maynard is playing a fuel game or if just the downforce is so much more in Jason's favor. Because it definitely looked like he pulled out with more speed and then has since lost it. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure, yeah.
Oh,
Definitely would not expect him to start falling back like this. Maybe he's planning to hit the pit anyway and doesn't want to risk going side by side through here.
Could be, or could be playing a fuel strategy. See if we can get another lap out of the fuel tank. Oh, Tony Caicedo. Man, that was an interesting pass. Ferrari is not a bad car for this in the GT3 category.
No, it's...
So, Joe Evers, while maybe not having, I think, quite the pace he had early on, definitely doesn't feel like he's really having any trouble with that machine, which is, I think, one of my favorite things about the Ferraris. I feel like it's the most stable of the mid-engine vehicles. Oh, they're going to go too wide. Coming into the Bilstein corner. I think that pass is going to get done. Take a look here at how that started, though. Just a great exit out of Nicholas Maynard to hold the inside line, which turns into the outside line in Bilstein, but over-speeding and just keeping the throttle in. Oh, boy. William the Master looking to make the pass. Let's see if he gets the over-under.
Cool.
Oh, boy. Richard Costanza going to be in for his pit stop. Excuse me. Early on here. Oh, Dan Griffin. He's caught up to the Hayden Mamenga and Wesley Woods tourist lap.
Oh.
And Hayden Mamenga, I think, is just going to let him by.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that they're just going to pull over.
Wow. Tom Leeson, Patrick Cantrell going to enter pit lane, get their pit stops done alongside Richard Costanza. Jason Larson not letting Nicholas Maynard run away that easily. Stan Griffin
right,
now.
I'm going to jump back down here.
Already.
Get ready to start driving again.
Well, good luck.
Best of luck. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm going to try and not have a repeat here.
I believe in you.
That makes 1.5 of us.
All right. Well, good luck. I'll see you hopefully at some point. If not, enjoy the rest of the race. All right. Zachary Holden coming into the pit lane for repairs. We'll see him back out on track here momentarily as his repairs get finished up. William Master, Tony Caicedo, as they come through the rapid Flugplatz. Keeps about 10th between these two drivers, this front engine Mercedes against the rear engine Porsche. Two German manufacturers looking to go head to head as they work their way through this. Such a fast corner. Almost look for too wide. William Master not going to find the purchase though. Tony Caicedo really making it work for him. Looks for the overlap, doesn't find it. Tony has a wide line here on the run up to Foxhole. Say up to. Just past, I should say. So they keep it on together. Andre Saba out from his pit stop. 4 minutes in the box. Do I have that right? Interesting. I guess so. Yeah. It's going to get out ahead of kind of the tail end of the pack of all those that have pit so far. Most of the field having yet to do so. Keeping up as well. A couple other battles as they're happening. Joe Evers still sitting about 2 seconds behind these two drivers. Sergey Perot 6 seconds behind Joe. So they'll keep working their way through. Watching the time close between Dan Griffin and Andre Saba, who is only 2 seconds behind Jared Petit. Now, full fuel for these drivers means they have about, I think, one more lap in addition to the one that they are currently on. We'll have to see here whenever Casey Jones works his way around, as he's currently in the high-speed sector in the way up to Hoacht. Excuse me. I thought he was a couple corners sooner going into Stelstrecke, but it's just before the fast corner. And into Whipperman, this whole fun downhill sector from the top of the hill. Nick Tyrrell trying to close down the gap to Jason Larson amongst all this. Jared Petit passing Andre Saba for position. What? How did that happen? Oh, I think because they passed as Andre was coming out of pit lane. That's how this happened. There we go. I was trying to figure out why that was the way it was. Oh man, coming through. Carousel. Man, William Master really trying to close down the gap. So these two work their way up to Hoacht. Another battle. I'm going to try to see if it gets a little bit closer before I fully swap to it, because this is one of the few on track that are currently active. There's the gap between Nick Tyrrell and Jason Larson for the bottom stop of the podium. Trevor's going to let that gap build a little bit as well as these drivers work their way through. Tony Caicedo is going to be off. That's going to allow, almost allow William Master to work through. But he's going to have to find a little bit more purchase. Definitely has that opportunity lurking in the wings for him. Casey Jones on pit road after 8 laps for his first and only pit stop of the night. Sees him come down all the way down. It's a long pit lane. Nicholas Maynard going to dive in as well as the likes, I think, of both Jason Larson and Nick Tyrrell. Both are going to get on the binders. Both make it to the pit speed control. As they work their way in, Tony Caicedo as well as William Master now going to be duking it out down the Donninger Ho straight. The Donninger straight, one of the two. Probably, once again, doing the same thing I got to talk about with Chai Tea. We'll see how the pit times shake out. Casey Jones, 30 seconds in the box. We'll see how much that impacts those drivers as they work their way through. Tony Caicedo on the piece there. Casey Jones labeled as crashed. He has spun himself out. Yep, got spun out. Now working his way back around again. These two drivers both diving into pit lane. They're going to be on the binders as well. Basically, the rest of the field, it looks like, that has not already come into pit is going to be making their way in. Joe Evers going to join them as well. Nate Sides in that box. Sergey Perot going to dive in. I think we'll see Evan Fisher, I guess, through the ground. We'll X-ray vision him. See him also dive in. So, just under an hour of drive time for these drivers. We'll see them all work their ways through as a result of the lap time. And because Casey Jones looks like he took tires, sees him only 5 seconds ahead of his teammate, Nicholas Maynard. And Nick Tyrrell going to be 5 seconds ahead of Jason Larson, who had a 5-second slower pit box cycle. So we'll see here. Nate Sides out after 28 seconds as well. Jared Petit finds himself back on track. That's a little bit of a crunch front end. See what happened there as well. As Evan Fisher working his way through. William Master going to be just 0.3 faster than. Oh, wow! What car? What happened there? Oh, Nate Sides. Jeez, I was trying to figure out what I was hearing. I was hearing Nate Sides across the barrier from turn number 1, where he had a slide. A few cars got tires. We'll see them be a little bit longer in the pit cycle strategy as well. Tony Caicedo losing out on this pit battle by 9 seconds of a slower pit stop, meaning that he had about a 10-second slower pit lane travel time. Oh, and he's also going to have a slide here. Working his way through the Grand Prix circuit. Andre Saba and Dan Griffin back into a fight, as Dan Griffin has been working his way back up through the order. Hayden Mamenga and Wesley Woods, I think, resume their tour of the Nordschleife. So like I said, loses a little bit more time to Evan Fisher and Sergey Perot. Wesley Woods with an off track as well. Both these drivers working their way through the tail end of a lap. Nighttime driving has officially begun in the last 30 minutes. So we got a good hour of daylight driving. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But the last 30 minutes will progressively get a little more dark. So it might be an interesting end to this race, especially as Dan Griffin looking to make that pass as well. Colton Tony going to be slapped with a black flag for incident limits. An unfortunate end to a rather successful tour trying to survive the green hell. Oh, big slide out there. Dan Griffin now has to cut down a minute to Tom Leeson, who's gotten that machine repaired, where he sits in third in class despite everything so far. Richard Costanza going to be just ahead of him, with Evan Fisher finding his way off track. Has that helped, or was that alone? We'll find out. I think it looked like it was by itself. Oh, yeah, big moment there. Try to keep that car going the right direction fresh tires means you got to lift a little bit. But we'll keep it going the right direction as well from where he's leading GT3M. Pit cycles have spread this track, the lap times as well as where these cars are on track, pretty open. Let's see here. I'm gonna hit this blimp. Nope. I don't know what I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna hit one of these buttons. I'll go from there. I'm just gonna put the track map open. You can see how spread out all of these cars are amongst the Nurburgring Nordschleife. I'm getting a phone call. Who from? Who knows? Must be somebody. It's a Facebook video call from a good friend of mine. I'm working. I'm doing a broadcast. I will message you back later. All right. So, with the schedule now being where it is, say schedule. With the lap times now where they are, Colton Tony coming in to serve that black flag penalty and get it organized, have a good closing 4 laps or so of the race. We'll see where the leaders come back down the pit road straight, the front start finish straight. One set of those words that all mean a thing. We'll see how these drivers get on in the closing stages. Colton Tony back out on track. Gaps sticking about where they have been since the pit cycle. Meaning Casey Jones going to be leading off the likes of Nicholas Maynard by about 5 seconds, and 11 seconds back from them is going to be Nick Tyrrell, who was able to regain or really gain the podium position ahead of Jason Larson after it was one he was fighting earlier as a result of lap 1 battling that went in the way of Jason Larson. Jason Larson going to be pretty well and solidly in 4th as a result of this multi-class, or not multi-class, but as a result of the pit cycle. And right out of top 5, coming Nate Sides, who's battling with Kevin Hayes earlier. Now finds himself a solid 42 seconds, I think, behind Jason Larson at this point. If I open up the battle box, yeah, 42 seconds. The gap there, as he had a spin as well, which puts him squarely 20 seconds ahead of William the Master, who's now 6 seconds ahead of Joe Evers. One of the few battles we can see here, as well as Tony Caicedo working to see if he can't recover from his spin earlier. Sergey Peruk, after having a bit of a fight with those drivers ahead, sees himself currently in 9th in class. Evan Fisher leading off GT3AM in 10th, just 20 seconds ahead, or sorry, almost 30 seconds ahead from Richard Costanza, Veterans United driver, looking to get some good practice in for the N24. Get the feeling they're with a team somewhere. If not, their own Veterans United team. Oh, big moment there. Keeps it out of trouble. What happened for Hayden Mamenga? He's labeled as crashed. Let's take a look here. Miss. Finally said that right after an hour of saying it incorrectly. The same corner that took him out earlier. Once again claims the incident. But we'll see him there as well. Tom Leeson going to be just behind Patrick Cantrell. And those two drivers battling as well for various spots. Dan Griffin working his way up the order. Has to cover now 42 seconds between himself in the rest of the GT3 order with Tyrrell and Tony. Nice. Okay. Well, hopefully you all have a fantastic N24. Whoa, bit slidey there for Dan Griffin. He's working his way through. Andre Saba having a pretty fantastic run of it, I think, all things considered. Keeping that car going in the right direction. As always, a bit of a wild one, especially when you get into the night. So we have 25 minutes left on the clock. Everyone's gotten their pit cycle done. That is mandatory. Jared Petit leading off, the best of the rest in GT3 AM. 40 seconds ahead of Wesley Woods and Hayden Mamenga. Those two drivers playing to get a little bit of lap time in. As well as Colton Tony, who's currently working his way around after having the black flag for incident limit. And then Kevin Hayes working his way back, trying to see if he can't rejoin the battle, but he has to get around a host of drivers if he wants to get into any more positions up from where he had the second impact of the evening. Oh my goodness. Zachary Holden. Oh, that front end looks unhappy. What happened here? Did I miss him going off track? I did miss him going off track. Let's see what happened here. This is fresh. Oh, just going through Flugplatz too quick. Yep. That will, in fact, do it all. A sad moment there for that BMW, that Mustang. Can't even get the genres right of genres. Jeez. Oh, my goodness. Am I having a stroke? Is this what having a stroke feels like? I don't think I am, for clarity's sake. For Wesley Woods. Yep, back on track. Was off track. What happened to Wesley Woods? This time. Oh, big moment in the gravel. Keeps it out of trouble, though. Coming up, the final few corners to the Kleiner Carousel. Hayden Mamenga having a brief moment as well. Oh, that front left is unhappy. I think it's still going it's still attached, but definitely doesn't look like it's very happy with that. I wonder what let's take a look at the roll bar. Let's see what the steering angle on this GT3 for Hayden Mamenga looks like. Oh yeah, that's straight. You know. Casey Jones once again works his way through the back half of a lap. 4 seconds now between himself and Nicholas Maynard. Nicholas Maynard is slowly working down the gap between the two teammate cars in terms of the overarching team that they work for. I think Casey Jones is on his own 100 force team for the championship standings. Speaking of championship standings, I didn't talk about these at the beginning of the race, so I'll take a quick moment to talk about them a little bit as we're in the closing stages here. I'm going to pull up the graphic, at least initially. I may, if we need to. But taking a look at GT3, we got an overhaul of the way this page looks as well. So, Mamenga going to dive into pit lane after being off track for a little ways. That car looking a little bit worse for wear. As the gap slowly closes down, Nicholas Maynard going to keep working and improving the lap time between these two drivers. But a GT3 Pro for the points division, Dan Griffin going to be leading at the moment, just ahead of Nate Sides, with Kevin Hayes in third there. Only 7 points separate Dan Griffin and Nathan Sides. Then only another 8 points separate Kevin Hayes and Nicholas Maynard for that bottom step of the podium in that battle there. Patrick Cantrell going to round out the top 5 in GT3 Pro with William Master, Sergey Perok, Michael Doyen, Casey Jones, and Joe Evers to round out the top 10. Andre Saba, Matt Markley, Nick Tyrrell, as well as Calvin Collado, Tyler Roberts, Luke Plaisance. Going to round out all the drivers that have posted lap times and gotten points in our season so far after 3 rounds. In 5 races. Landon Orr going to be leading off ahead of Tom Leeson. But tonight, with Landon Orr being absent, that's going to upset the point totals until we get into the drop rounds in the back half of the season. Look at that error that Nicholas Maynard gets there. Getting a lot of lap time here in the closing stages. We might see a battle here for the lead of the race in the closing moments. We'll have to see. Oh. Hayden Mamenga, welcome to the booth.
Hello.
You find yourself in pit lane, I see.
I did, and I made it so much longer than I anticipated. So I found myself.
How was
Zach
the
wanted
drive?
to interview earlier, but he didn't. So I'll just drag it. The drive, it's a Sunday cruise until you hit the wall. Wesley and I were keeping each other company, and he was being my brake guide or brake marker along with a tour guide, and we did great for about an hour until I decided we want to play ping pong against the wall. So, how's the race going from the broadcast booth?
I think it's going rather well. All things considered, I've had something to talk about for largely most of this race. So,
Heck yeah. Wesley and I were game planning to get on camera, so we were making some arguments. I guess you want to see that. So.
Yeah, we saw some of it. Oh my gosh, Zachary Holden gonna abandon the race line there. Oh. He's gonna jump to pits. All right.
My teammates should tell me to.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Nicholas Maynard doesn't have enough fuel. What? Did I have that right? Did he budget incorrectly for the fuel margin? I'll have to ask him at the end of this race because that's spicy. And also robs me of my one last battle I was going to talk about in the closing stages. So,
Damn.
Well, we'll see where he comes out. He could be battling with, everyone else on track as well. So,
yeah.
I was just hoping to see him catch his own teammate at the tail end here, but we'll see where he comes out.
Yeah. I'll try to keep an eye on it, but I sure as hell won't.
Oh, yeah, just a splash and dash. He's going to come out, I think, just behind Jason Larson. This should make for some exciting racing here in the closing stages. I talked with your teammate about it. You guys are doing a run of the Nurb 24. Are you excited about that?
I had actually, I misread my calendar. I'm helping my girlfriend move back from college that weekend, so no, I am not participating.
Oh, okay. Well, then you will be missed amongst the many that are... what's up?
I will not be missed. I'm like 12 seconds slower in lap.
I mean, but you kept it on track 90% of the time. So, and if you had been in a...
Sidelines.
That's fair. You can be the moral support. It's always good to have
Not
somebody.
Moral support, morons.
Also valid. So.
Yeah, it's always valid.
All right. As if we haven't ridden off the roof cam of Nicholas Maynard enough for one day, we're going to do it again. See if he can chase down Jason Larson and / or... Oh, Jason Larson's just going to let Nicholas Maynard by. Well, now we'll...
Has the race been about as good as you thought?
One more time?
Is the racing been about as good as you thought it would been, or
It's been
spread out?
It's been exciting. Like, we've had pockets of battling pretty much most of the race up until the pit cycle. And even then, after the pit cycle, we had a couple more. And we had a bunch of spins to talk about, that all that, how that impacts. I'm super interested to see who else doesn't have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race, because if Nicholas Maynard misjudged that, anybody else could have. So.
Well, I can tell you one person who did not misjudge your fuel.
Yeah.
That would be me.
That's fair.
I can guarantee you 100% I did not miss my fuel.
It's very fair.
Well, I think I'll let you get back to
Yeah.
broadcast without done my options.
All right. Well, you can get back out there, get a little more practice in the night. Have some fun with it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It has been a blast. It's always fun to have people in the booth, especially on nights where Marcus is, unfortunately, busy with life stuff and also, I think, recovering from a pretty wild work week. So I'm sending him some love amongst all the other things going on. So,
Yep. Well, I think you've been doing a great job from what I've heard, so keep it up. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. I am glad that it is at least passable. So, but
I'll talk to you later.
sounds good. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Alrighty. And in the closing stages, 15 minutes left on the clock. It is properly night. Only 15 minutes of night racing. I'm going to say it. So it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, which was mostly nice night racing. Even despite my goal for sunrise to sunset. And then it didn't happen the way I wanted it to. That's okay. Casey Jones, 30 seconds clear of Nick Tyrrell. 7 seconds as Nick Tyrrell hunts down the cars. We're going to do a bunch of, I think, onboards to wrap up the evening, only because you can look at these headlights and they all don't really mean a whole lot because they're all just lights. So, on board with my teammate, Tony Casado. Oh my gosh. Wesley Woods, off track, on track, off track, on track, off track, on track. What happened here? What happened here, Wesley Woods? Oh, that'll be why. Oh, crunch. Hello. Hey. That's for the on track, off track, on track. Nicely done. I do want to take a moment to say the Porsche is, I think, one of the first GT3s I drove. Second only to the Mustang, and still one of my favorites, especially because of the Cup car variant. Oh boy, howdy! Big use of the curbing there, but the Ferrari one I always am a fan of. Take you down the sights and sounds of all the GT3s we have out on track. All the onboards. Still one of my personal favorites. The GT3 Mercedes. It's naturally aspirated V8 motor. It's such like a warm, welcome home feeling. I always find it hilarious to go from this or, this nice deep sound to the whine of the Corvette, especially when I expect a Corvette to sound very different as a result of the Corvette I work on. Oh no, Tom Leeson had a moment. Let's see what happens. Oh, this is going to be into Arden Forest. Oh, just cuts the corner. Gets back on the racetrack. Let's see. Listen to that. We listened to a handful of cars. We have the Aston Martin, one of my favorite new ones of the GT3 world. Colton Tony, you need to serve your pit lane. You're going to get disqualified. How do you still have a black flag? Did I just... Oh, sorry. Tom Leeson going real slow in the dark. He's going to see a pass out of Dan Griffin. Ooh. Nicholas Maynard. Going to be chasing down Nick Tyrrell for P2. As Wesley Woods gets an off track and gets a black flag as a result as well for incident limits. Jesus. Getting flashbanged by iRacing SDK. You have some lights here. Not a ton, but a couple. We haven't ridden on board with the Mustang, or the BMW. Ten minutes left to go. 2 more laps, I believe, at the line. I don't think I saw the white flag out of the leader. We'll see. Next time they come back around. Oh my gosh. Big catch there as that car worked its way through. And then Nicholas Mayer is going to pick up the position as we saw here. Take a look at that BMW to the left. Or just before that. Just a huge snap of in a catch oversteer. So with that, I think our battles on track come to a bittersweet end for the moment. See if any other drivers catch up to anyone else. Dan Griffin went off track. Oh. Keeps it together, though. Has to serve a slowdown penalty at some point amongst all this. This is such a fun, fast section at the tail end of the lap. Saying the fastest lap overall as well, this most recent time by for Dan Griffin. Whoa, big off track, into the wall. We'll go Dan Griffin. Puts it together. That car does not look very happy. He's working his way back through. Tom Leeson, who allowed him by, now sees him. Oh. Take a look back at this. I want to see what the onboard looks like. Just not enough brake. Or excuse me, this is the one I'm talking about. Not enough brake. You can see him the downshift here. That's not enough, not early enough. And he just keeps adding an input. But only so much you can do. See him on the hunt now. See if that wheel does not look very happy. Much like we saw out of Hayden Mamenga, that straight is a little bit more of a suggestion right now. Blue light bar. He's going to bring that car in to pit lane. Get a fast repair done. You can see that tire, the front right there, just looking pretty sad as it wants to be like on the right hand side. Oh, overshot the box. You see that car snap back together. And gets that car repaired, back out on track. Zachary Holden. Back out on track as well? No, back in pit lane. I wonder what happened. Huge. Let's see where. Circuit broke. Whoa. Keep that car going the right direction as well. We haven't been in the McLaren yet. Our tour of the onboards. Let's see what happened here from the onboard. Oh, big crunch. Keeps it together though. This is where we picked it back up. Leslie Woods going to be in to serve his pit lane penalty for incident limits. I think he's bringing that in to maybe call it an evening. We'll have to see. 6 minutes left. Sorry, 4 minutes. 3 minutes left. Meaning that this, I think, should be the final lap. I'm trying to remember exactly if this will count as the final lap. He might just barely buzzer beat the timer, so this might be the final lap here instead of... Let's see. I've now been given the worst time to have hiccups, so we'll have to see whether or not these drivers get one more lap. It looks like we will. White flag, I think, will be out this time by for the drivers. Oh. As they work their way through. Take a look on the onboard, trying to see if I see Barney waving it. I don't see him out of that one. Maybe it's another one somewhere else down here. Maybe our lad. Nope. Alright. Well. One more trip for everyone going down the start-finish stretch. See if I am any more lucky trying to get through. Hopefully these hiccups don't latch too seriously on. All the drivers pretty well sorted. Finally reaching a slow point. Jared Petit now caught with a black flag for the final lap. As he's working his way around the tail end of his second to last one. I'm also thrilled that Landon is a fan of the broadcast. Flipping around the cameras here, it's not a whole lot to see. So we end up on the onboards just because it's, you get a little bit of action. You get a little bit of something to view. That's why you do it a lot at night too, just 'cause you get to see what's going out the front headlights. Back on board with Joe Evers as he begins his final lap. And in a while here, another probably 5 or so minutes, we'll see Casey Jones ideally make his way down to the checkered flag, assuming he makes it without any issues. He's losing a lot of time in this closing lap, though, to his teammate, Nicholas Maynard. I wonder if the fuel strategy is not quite playing out the way he'd intended. Check out a listen on board. 15 seconds was at 29, I think, the lap at the start of the lap, or darn close to the beginning of it. So to see if there is a fuel game still yet in play. Nate Sides setting his personal best lap as well amongst all this. 7:56. Obviously, his lap time is going to come down a little bit as this weather has changed a little bit. Sorry, changed a little bit in terms of the track temperature down to a crisp and cool 68 degrees. Down from its 85 that we saw in qualifying, which means the lap times are all going to get faster. Dan Griffin letting Tom Leeson letting Dan Griffin by. There we go. That's the English. As we get into the closing stages. Casey Jones, I think, coming around to take the checkered flag here in a moment. I think that's going to be the last pit there. We see the time starting to accelerate, which makes me think this session is going to be coming to an end soonish. As Casey Jones makes his way out of the Kleiner Carousel, getting set up to have one last run. I'm super curious if there is a fuel strategy. It's 13 seconds now, lost another 2 seconds throughout the back half of this lap. Let's see if we hear anything out of the engine. We won't see it on the display. Oh no. Sergei Prok labeled as crashed. as well as Kevin Hayes. We'll take a look at those both in just a moment. As at the end of lap 12, we'll see see what happened there. Casey Jones is going to come home the victor, as well as Kevin Hayes is going to finish a lap down. See what happened here to Sergei Perok. This is going to be at the end. Going to Style Streka. One of just a little too much rotation. Yep, just a little too much rotation. Catches it, though, before he ends up in the wall. And then this is Kevin Hayes, who just kind of pulls off to the side. So that way he doesn't have to do an extra lap. So a nicely done moment there. We're going to see Nicholas Maynard, as well as Nick Tyrrell come to home, take a checker flag. Jason Larson working his way through it now as well. Wesley Woods and Jared Petit both with black flags in the closing stages as they get through as well. Nate Sides towards the end of Dodger Ho Straight. Going to be last of our top five, excuse me. Not first, the opposite of first. Last of our top five to come home to the checkered flag out of our 23 cars, 22 of which took to the start. We'll see a total of 18, I think, take to the checkered. Sorry, 19 take to the checkered. Nate Sides works his way home in P3. William LeMaster now working down the back stretch one final time. Not quite sure what's happening here. Wesley Woods getting a moment there. Jared Petit getting past there as well. Make sure I'm understanding that correctly. So LeMaster comes through the final chicane. 11 seconds ahead of Joe Evers to take home the 6th place finish. And not far behind will be Joe Evers. And then likes of Wesley Woods going to come home in P5 in class. Tony Caicedo having a pretty stellar run to end up coming home in P8. Up 10 positions from where he started overall. He's pretty stoked with that result. I would be too. Sergei Perok, not terribly far behind, coming out of the Dodger Ho Straight, getting in that final chicane. Going to round out the last driver, I would say, in the lead pack very loosely. See a couple of GT3 AM drivers come home next, each on opposite ends of the Dodger Ho Straight. GT3 AM, the race leader, Evan Fisher, for that class. Great start. Had a moment early on with 8 sides, able to recover to at least the lead of the pack in GT3 AM. We'll see him come home in the lead of GT3 AM. A fantastic run for him as well. Richard Costanza, after having a bit of a race, getting a fantastic result here as a result of the consistency. See him hitting the flashers. Very stoked with how that worked out. Some great practice as well for him. Amongst all that, Patrick Cantrell rounding out the final chicane to round out the top 10 in class. See him end up in the number 10 position. 11th is going to be Dan Griffin, our current championship standings leader. So it'll be interesting to see how that option goes as well. Danger Goose Racing Team supporting Tom Leeson's P3 finish has one final straight to go down and a pretty rough car, but I think he's got the ability to do it. Oh, that car is not doing good. But we'll see if he can nurse it home. Answer looks like yes. All right, I'm bringing in our race winners as the last of the GT3M podium works their way home. Casey Jones, Nicholas Maynard, welcome to the booth.
Hey, man. Casey will be right back. I'm not sure if he's back yet.
Well, then we will patiently wait him. Did you need a splash and dash for fuel? Did I understand that right?
Man, yeah, so coming into the pit box, we were sitting there talking. It's like, how much do we want to add? Like my calculator was saying this. And I usually do it manually, and then I was like, whatever. I'll just let iRacing do it, right? Like that's safe.
Yeah.
Well, didn't check auto fuel, and so
Oh no.
put what was in there. Yes, I was like 2 laps short, I think.
Oh.
That happens, I guess.
It
Yeah.
does from time to time.
Yeah. And then Dan had an internet issue.
Yeah. I watched him start dropping down the list, and I was like, what happened to Dan? And I was like, I think it must be an internet issue.
Yeah, he had one. I think it was in practice too.
Sorry.
Oh goodness, what was that? A hood flying?
Yeah, it was a hood flying. Tom Leeson fully destroying that car now that he's done with the race.
Okay.
Comes
well,
on P3.
No better time.
Yep. But
So how was it for you? Was it fun?
It was a blast. But I always love the Nurb. So and there was like battling to watch pretty much up until the pit cycle, and even after that for a good while, you know.
Yeah, that makes it exciting. I know it's a track. Some people kind of don't really like to battle on. So when people get the elbows out, it makes it wild.
That it certainly does. I was watching the battling between William Master, Tony Caicedo, as well as Sergey Perot for a long while. Joe Evers also diving into that. So it was some good elbows out here and there. So
For sure.
Casey Jones, welcome to the broadcasting booth. Congrats on the win tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a big one, dude. It was a banger, bro.
I would have to imagine. It seemed like you kind of took off, had a great start, and just kept running.
I've been practicing a lot. Nicholas and Dan have been coaching me, trying to get ready for the 24-hour event coming up. So luckily, I had some good coaches. I'm able to put some good lap times on there, but towards the end, I started to lose a little bit.
I was to say, up until I think we saw Nicholas Maynard come in for the splash and dash, I was expecting you two to fight it out for the end there.
Oh man, I was sweating, thinking that he was gonna get up there with me, big time towards the end. Spun out coming out of pit, putting on my new tires and filling up, and right when that happened, I was just like, okay, all right, so now Nicholas is in the game here to come and take it from me. So,
but yeah, it was a fun time. There's a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely, it's been awesome racing the series. They brought me along. I'm glad I joined. It's been some good weeks for sure.
Good. Well, it's been super cool to see another member of the 100 Force kind of hang out with us here.
Absolutely. Finally happy to be here in the VIP room.
VIP room. Very loose VIP room here. I would say, Nichols Maynard will tell you, it may not always be the most luxurious of places.
I'm enjoying my first time here, man. Thanks again for having me along. Good race today, buddies.
Absolutely. So, I was wondering if we see anybody else from folks work their way in, but maybe not.
Right on. Well, I'm going to go now change my sweaty shirt.
Fair enough.
And yeah, man. Thanks again, you guys.
Absolutely. Congrats. We'll see you when we get back from our week off for the back half of the season.
Yes, sir.
We're back with some more racing. Where are we going next? I have to go double check my roster.
Where are we going next?
Great question. The answer is going to be Brands Hatch and Spa for our next sprint week. And then we go from that to Silverstone in the wet. That's the week I'm looking forward to.
Oh boy, it's gonna be a good commentator series right there for you.
I know. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what do I want the rain to look like, because I did the scheduling for the weather this season, Casey.
Okay.
So I am the person directly responsible for all of the rage I'm going to be thrown at for this.
I was going to say
rage is loosely. Yeah, you know who to blame.
Okay.
I'm excited about it, but I think it'll be some decent racing. in the wet. So
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, Ben.
I was expecting this to be a sunrise sunset, but I didn't clarify with Marcus that I needed the race time to be in the morning, so it ended in the evening. And so that's where that got miscommunicated. So that's why you got some night racing. It wasn't my intent, and I apologize.
Okay. I ended up doing a 2 laps in the dark the other night while training, just by chance. I'm not trying to, so I guess it worked out.
Hey,
Give me a little bit of practice for that one. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the next set, like a 90-minute race here at the ring. That's definitely got a sweaty back right now.
fair enough. So we'll let you get back to it. Congrats again. Hopefully see you soon
Thank you.
once we get back from the off week.
I appreciate it. All right, you guys, you take care.
You as well, Casey.
All right, bye.
And any final thoughts before we let you get back to it as well, Nicholas Maynard?
No, it was fun. Everybody seemed to drive really well from what I saw. I'm looking forward to going back and checking it out and catching all the action.
Yeah, it was. I had brief moments. I was like, going to be a little bit concerned. It was going to peter out pretty soon, but it definitely did not do that. Both because of both you and Dan starting in the back, Dan's disconnection made for another round of interesting moments as well. In addition to just a handful of battles that just would come back together, spread apart, come back together. It was great. It was good stuff all the way around.
That's awesome.
I think. So,
did you happen to see my off-track adventure getting around
Tyrrell?
Oh,
yeah. We saw that on. I was
good.
surprised but you kept that from becoming more of an incident. So that was a big moment. I think we were talking with one of the drivers. I was like, "I'm gonna come bother you when we inevitably crash." I'm like, "Great." So they were in there with me. I think it's Hayden.
Oh gosh.
So
yeah, I told the boys, I was like, I'm dead, and then I don't know how I didn't die.
I was also shocked you didn't die. I was like, you nailed that perfectly.
Yeah, that was exciting, but good fun as always.
Heck yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll wrap up this broadcast here so everybody can go about their evenings, since nobody else is wanting to join us in the interview room, which is fine. All right. We'll hopefully see you when we get done with our off week in a couple weeks' time.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. So until then, have fun. Enjoy the off week. I think we're doing some fun off week shenanigans. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure we'll have something.
Yeah, well, I imagine. I might try. I might be able to make that one. I know I missed the Killer Bees at Daytona?
Yeah, the Killer Bees at Daytona. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
So
hopefully I can make this one.
Yeah, we'll see. See what it is. I know it's also going to be in the week of the NURB 24, so
that's right.
I know we're going to be in the middle of, I think, a pretty busy prep week for a lot of us, myself included.
Yeah, gotta get those laps in.
Yep. So we're doing a TCR this year, so it's going to be a little bit different.
Oh, those cars are awesome.
Dude, I'm so excited. I've been pushing for TCR for the past 2 times I've moved on NURB, and I'm like, what about TCR? And everybody's like, nah, we'll do this other thing. It's like, all right, well, so I'm excited.
Good. Happy for you.
Are you doing a GT3 again, I assume?
We are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, it's actually our first attempt. We
really?
never tried the Nurburgring 24, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, so going into it, very excited and a good bit scared.
It's good to have a little apprehension. I wouldn't say, I mean, you don't need to be wholly scared, but a little apprehension isn't bad.
That's right. Keep us safe. So.
Yes. And consistency will get you everywhere.
Yes, sir.
But alrighty, I'll let you get to it, and we'll see you all soon.